I wanted to give you some great ideas on what our GTX3582R compressor housing and wheel combination can be used for. So in this video, I'll start off by showing you the ball bearing version. Then next, I'll show you how to use it to repair a ball bearing or journal bearing 6262 turbo or 6266. Here is our GTX3582R compressor wheel and compressor housing installed on a GT35R turbo. So this is one combination that you could use it for, is to upgrade your regular GT35R. This turbo has a .82 T3 turbine housing, but you can also upgrade to a T3 1.06 turbine housing, which we had somebody make over 926 horsepower on, with the GT35R turbine and the T67 compressor wheel, which is the same as the GT37R compressor wheel. As for the specs of this turbo, it has an 11 blade billet compressor wheel that is 62.45 by 82 by 90 millimeter, and the turbine wheel is 62.35 by 68 millimeter. However, we do have upgraded turbine wheel options for this turbo. That is a 67 by 76 turbine, and we also have you can also put a T67 compressor wheel on it, which is the same as a GT37R compressor wheel, but it would have to be completely custom machined, as in the compressor wheel has to be machined down for that. Now this turbo does have an anti-surge port housing. The purpose of this and the importance of this is so that if you have an issue with surge at higher boost levels, it can severely damage the turbo. So having this anti-surge port will help prevent any issue with that. The compressor housing used on this turbo is a TO4S .70 AR compressor housing. It does require the TO4S compressor plate, so keep that in mind if you have a TO4E that you want to buy the compressor housing and wheel combination. You do need the matching TO4S seal plate. We do sell the compressor housing and wheel combination. I will link to that in case you're interested in picking one of those up. It would be a great option for upgrading a regular GT35R. The GTX3582R compressor wheel and compressor housing combination can also be used to repair a Precision 6262 or 6266 by replacing the wheel and housing and using a 2mm superback TO4S seal plate, which I'll also link to so you can check that out. Now as for some of the ball bearing units for the 6262 and 6266, it can repair some versions, but it depends which version you have. If you have a ball bearing 6262, you either have one of these two bearing housings. The parts you see on the left can't be used with the compressor housing and wheel combination unless you get this seal plate, which is a 2mm superback TO4S compressor plate, and you have to get a GT37R bearing housing, which I also do have. I will link to these parts in case you want to convert your different style 6262 ball bearing over so that you can use the GTX3582R compressor wheel, compressor housing, and seal plate and bearing housing in order to repair or upgrade your ball bearing 6262 turbocharger. Once you have this seal plate, it will allow you to use this compressor housing and wheel combination with a journal bearing or ball bearing center cartridge. You do have to use the style bearing housing that you see on the right, which is commonly found in some of the PTE 6262 ball bearing turbochargers, which is the same as the GT37R bearing housing. If your ball bearing 6262 turbine wheel happens to be bad, you can swap that out for a GT37R shaft that has a P-trim wheel, which is 65 by 72, but the turbine housing must be machined accordingly. Thank you guys so much for watching these videos. I hope you were able to learn something here, that there are other options out there for repairing your ball bearing 6262 turbos and not just throwing them away or not just spending a lot of money to have them rebuilt by Precision.